One. Welcome back, guys. Welcome to the Insider Outsider podcast. And today we're gonna explain some concepts. Oh my god, I'm losing my voice. That are going to change the way you think about the world. And we have our boy Ahmed, top Forbes 20 out of 20 sexiest mans alive. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Always with a please mustache.
Sexiest,
He's there.
the sexiest man alive. Welcome back to the podcast, guys.
All right. So what are we
Appreciate it.
thinking? What are we gonna do today, buddy?
We're gonna talk about game theory and how that might apply to geopolitics.
All right. Well, explain to the viewer what the hell game theory is. Is it about playing games?
So it is a idea about how to win in basically in a game, but in context to like socioeconomics or like there's economic aspects to this.
Mm-hmm.
What do I mean by that? Like basically starting a business or even outside of the socioeconomic game theory is just a theory that you can apply anywhere to and see success. It's a framework of thinking and it's strategy based.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, one of the things that is mentioned in game theory, and I'll do my best to explain this because I've watched this very, very recently. This Chinese professor has went very, very viral. His
Mm-hmm.
name is Professor Jiang. And
Professor
I think
Yang. Okay.
hopefully I don't do a poor job of explaining this, but he actually goes into detail and as to what game theory is and what you should take away from it.
Okay.
But I'll do my best here and I'll explain. So game theory suggests that working on your own is probably the worst idea when you're trying to compete. And what you want to do is work in teams, and you want to leverage multiple people. You know, entrepreneurship.
Yes.
You're just to make it relevant or give it an analogy to work off of for game theory. Um, One of the traits of a very, very good CEO
Mm-hmm.
is to recognize strengths of others.
Mm-hmm.
And so he'll understand that someone can get something done way more effectively than he can. And so he'll put together a team, and this team will be each person within the team will play a certain role. Kind of like the video games or chess or anything like that. Each piece has its use case, and they work in combination to achieve a certain goal.
Uh-huh.
So when you do this, you get a better edge. As an individual, you can have you can have your own edge, but it's a lot more difficult. The smarter thing to do is to actually find someone else. Like for example, me and Rav hold each other accountable, and we consistently remind each other about the podcast and how we want to have an impact on within the YouTube algorithm. We want people to subscribe. We want this to grow, and
Mm-hmm.
so we leverage uh, our unique insights, and so we both agree and disagree on a variety of topics. And I think that in combination with me and Rav, we actually come up with better theses than if we were to compete on our own, or
Mm-hmm.
if we were to create YouTube video on our own.
Mm-hmm. And how
I
do you
think
think
Rav.
it relates into politics? Because you used game theory in your ideas quite a bit, and so why is game theory such a big portion of politics?
I think mentioning the Cold War is very relevant to this topic because it operates on games of deception.
Uh-huh.
Let me give a lot more context so that we're not jumping too quickly from topic to topic, and so that we have a coherent message. So that, and if the viewers please, if you have any comments or if you would like the conversation to take a different path, please put something in the comments. We're definitely going to read them and work off of that.
Mm-hmm.
So from the context of game theory, and we're trying to apply the simulated. We're trying to simulate and use game theory as a basis to understand the Cold War. So Cold War is indirect warfare,
Mm-hmm.
and it relies upon like manipulation in a way that it's like a bluffing game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people online suggest that when this Cold War happened, uh, the U.S. actually lied, and they kept on bluffing about their capabilities in taking man to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very narrative based. It's like because of the nukes, they could not fight, directly, and so they had to go into a different strategy of warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, financial warfare is part of warfare, as as we mentioned in the prior podcasts. But what you find during the Cold War, you had these intelligence agencies
Mm-hmm.
like the KGB and the FBI develop all sorts of techniques and methodologies to combat each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you use game theory to give it a at least a stronger perception of what's actually happening,
Mm-hmm.
you start to understand from the context of game theory, a lot of the logic applies
Mm-hmm.
to this kind of indirect warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And what you get is you get people that are spies on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't cover this in game theory, and I should cover that in game theory prior to jumping into this. It's called conspiring,
Mm-hmm.
which means so the first level for you to compete effectively in game theory is to create teams. So you work instead of it'll start what Professor Jang says. It'll start an arms race, and what he means by that is two people will pair up and they'll create a team and they'll have a defined edge, and then that will force another three people to pair up because three is a higher magnitude
Mm-hmm.
than two, a team of two. And so what happens is all these teams start to show up and they all start to compete against each other. And at that point, there's almost like a standstill where you're forced to cooperate with your enemy. And you see this in China versus America
Mm-hmm.
because you have such a the game theory is it's such a wide lens to look at the geopolitical narrative.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is it let me give you guys an analogy. There's a guy that I really like his work, and Rav really likes his work. His name is James Parsons,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a 60% return.
Jim Simmons. Jim Simmons.
My bad. I botched it. Thank God.
No. I was like, who are
Thank
you talking
God.
about? No, yeah, Jim Simmons. Jim Simmons
You're
from
botching it.
Renaissance
Yeah,
Technology.
yeah, exactly. That guy.
Yeah.
Sorry to say the wrong name, but essentially, at the very end of his career, or near the middle, um, he actually had to tone it down on his returns.
Mm-hmm.
So he's so effective within the huge ecosystem of trading that his style stopped working effectively because the constraints of game theory applied. He
Mm-hmm.
reached the wider lens. He's competed on such a mass scale that he would disrupt the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm trying to say is game theory has a border that you kind of hit. It's like a physical constraint where you have to cooperate
Mm-hmm.
with other people that you're competing with,
Yeah.
which is something that if you're competing with someone, it's like, why would I cooperate with?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense. But because those constraints exist within the framework of game theory, you have to apply that logic that China and America will cooperate
Mm-hmm.
because they operate under those constraints. And so let's go back to the Cold War. During the Cold War, it was very similar. We have the same kind of thing in both game theory now and back then, because people are competing against each other,
Mm-hmm.
countries are competing against each other, and they're trying to find an edge. And one of the ways you find an edge is either you enter this arms race,
Uh-huh.
where you recruit the smartest people into America, and you create institutions and collectives, individuals that leverage those smart people in combination with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then to transcend that level of competition, you have to do something called co-conspire,
Mm-hmm.
which means you're part of a team and you start to cooperate with another team secretly.
Mm-hmm.
You start to, let's say you're Apple and Samsung. You start to cooperate with Samsung, and they'll offer you, and you can see this happen right now. Like Mark Zuckerberg um, had really compelling offers to the top AI engineers, trying to outcompete the other people within the space.
Mm-hmm.
And so what he's trying to do is get them to start conspiring with him. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, there's but when you become aware of this, that level of competition within the logic of game theory, you start to try and do that yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You transcend we're going to work together. You go into we're going to conspire with the people that we work with to serve our best interest. We're talking from the individual perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, as an individual, you want to be part of two groups, and you want to be simultaneously working on a task with two groups.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I did a good explanation to that. But within the context of the Cold War, a lot of these agents were double agents,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like
Triple
the
agents.
I, I'm not. I think yeah, maybe, but like I know MI6, yeah, triple agents potentially. MI6 is the British,
Uh-huh.
FBI, CIA. I don't know how the FBI or CIA, but I know they're intelligence agencies, and then the KGB. And
Mm-hmm.
so during the Cold War, it was Russia versus America, and I think the British too. So you're right; they could have been
Yeah, but
triple alliance.
then here's okay. So your idea of the game theory is very intelligent. So again, thank you very much for letting the viewer know. Obviously, we're gonna try to keep this episode to 30 minutes, but as you can see, there's a lot of knowledge to be said. I have a question, Ahmed, for bringing us to the next part of our podcast. That's in a previous video, you had mentioned that the USA is getting ready for war. I kind of dismissed that. I don't think the USA is going to go into war because I don't think this is a warmongering type of scenario. But very early yesterday, it looks like I may potentially be wrong because USA is looking to directly hit Africa or
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, and Venezuela. So of course nothing is said yet, but apparently if talks do not happen for the, I believe it was there's some sort of issue happening with Christians over there where they're being persecuted against, right? And so
Yeah,
Trump said either don't do it, which I guess is easier said than done, or for that government, of course, easier said than done for that government, or we're going to be coming into attack. I don't know if he exactly said that, but I believe it was implied so. So what do you think about this? Is this what your theory was aiming towards, or what? Because I'll admit I was very wrong in this, but again, not wrong yet. No one has attacked anybody just yet.
I think that being wrong is part of just having a stronger
Yeah,
thesis.
buddy. As long as you're right 51%
Yeah,
of the time, you'll be okay.
like right now, you're relining your thesis, and there's going to be a point where you bring something up, and I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to see our cooperation in
Mhm.
generating a thesis. I think is what makes us a little more resilient.
Yeah, buddy. Give us a game
So
theory.
like I wi- within other like outside of the podcast stuff that we don't mention, I've definitely taken in a lot of constructive criticism from Rap, and I really do appreciate it. Like one of the things that I've recently done is invest in Arcat. Arcat is that company that
Yeah, yeah. It's down today as well, but it's gonna get up there. But you trust.
exactly this. I don't look at the short term.
Uh-huh.
I think when you're an investor, and Rav is an accredited investor,
Mhm.
and the reason that he succeeds is he has a longer. When he holds something, he holds it for much longer. He's not a day trader, from what I know, right?
Yeah. Well.
You don't swing trade. You
Yeah.
don't.
I have an interesting philosophy when it comes to that. I'll quickly give an overview.
Yeah,
Anything that's going to go up 20% is very likely going to go down as well. You could talk about Nvidia. You could talk about anything. Obviously, having a bull run, but not all these gains are going to be kept because a lot of it's speculation. So on a day-to-day basis, markets trade on emotion. So for example, one day, especially right now since it's such a volatile time, energy stocks might jump up 8% in a day, and they might go down 7%. And so if I have a long-term hold that goes up sporadically, and so it goes up 10% like randomly on a day, what I do is I take my profits. I just sell and I just wait for it to go down back to 5 to 10% because it's very likely. So you can do this with like Oklo. I've done this with now again, this is all my what I do. This is not real advice. This is just advice of what I do. But if I long term hold, even if let's just say I buy at 15 and I sell and then I sell it at 10 and then on 10 it goes back to 15 and I buy at 15 instead of buying at 10, right? Let's just say I made a mistake and I was back down to $8. I still don't sell because it's still my long-term hold. Because the reason why I bought it in the first place was because it's a long-term hold. But if swings happen from a day-to-day basis, I will buy and sell. Because it just gives you
he,
more shares over the long run.
he has a methodology that ensures that he takes profit because he sees ebbs and flows. He monitors the market as well. He's not just passively investing. And I think he shared with me he has extensive research. What I mean by research, he's read several books, and he has people that he finds are very successful, and he follows their logic. And if you were to share with us about Berkshire Hathaway,
Mm-hmm.
you like a lot of these investment firms and their reports, and he's very on top of it. And I think that he always brings that addition to the podcast where
Mm-hmm.
his eyes are always open, and I feel like
Well, thank you for the
Um,
comments.
just,
I'll let you finish on your point with the war thing,
yeah,
and then I'll jump into Berkshire halfway, and then we can talk about that too. Because it's I actually
I
did
think
want to
just
speak about those two guys today.
a really quick question. I guess, yeah, that's not a quick question. Then you're right. We'll finish up on the war part, and then you should talk about, I think, the
Berkshire.
authors that you,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
the
We can do
authors
that.
that, yeah, and the people that you like to emulate. And I try and emulate people, but I need to read what Rav has read to understand this stuff. But let's go back to the war topic, right?
Hmm.
Are we talking about the context within Africa and Venezuela?
Yeah. So, do you think the USA will be declaring war on some point? Was this your entire strategy that you thought that war was going to be created, and do you think this is going to be beneficial or not beneficial for the stock market? I guess those are the main questions I want to ask.
I think America has always been a war-seeking, plundering nation, and although they like to, depict this democratic, free the people notion, they do embody both the peaceful and uh, non-peaceful means of achieving success.
Uh huh.
What do I mean by that? There's a peaceful means where you invest in infrastructure, kind of like Carney, and there's a non-peaceful means where you negotiate tariffs,
Hmm.
and if that doesn't go well economically, enter war. And
Hmm.
I think from what I've seen in Venezuela, Venezuela actually has a substantial um,
Oil.
not only resources are also within the context of Africa. That's a really good thing to mention too. Um, Africa is not only a resource heavy place, it is a thriving young people population place. So when you're talking about economics within the
I think
next 50
certain
years,
parts of Africa, right? Because certain parts are
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, but if you look at it as a continent, the statistics on the entire continent,
Okay.
obviously there's fluctuations, but the statistics on the entire continent is that they have an emerging market. And Google has we've seen pivots and investments in infrastructure. I've read this back in 2022. They've essentially created an internet. They put a huge wire under the ground, cause lots and lots of costs, but they're really setting the infrastructure for the World Wide Web there, so they have a Google could have a reach on that continent because they have a bunch of young people. And so, from what I can see, the Outsider podcast, and I'm not, in Donald Trump's war room, but I think Africa is going to be of primary interest, the resources and the emerging population. So
Hmm.
that's going to be a compelling economic reason as to why he's in Nigeria. He will say, "Oh, we're actually there to fight terrorism," much like he did with Iraq. And then what you actually find out, much like the logical fallacy with Bill Gates, and I don't mean to be, off topic here, but he went to Iraq and extracted a lot of resources. They were oil rich. There was reasoning beyond weapons of mass destruction, and any logical person within the aftermath and what happened can discern that. And obviously, there's people online that don't hold that opinion. It's just my personal opinion. I might be biased. I'm open to any criticism in the comments. I'd like to hear that. Good publicity and bad publicity are positive for this channel. So please, if you disagree,
We're in
more
one
than
sub away
full
from
vent.
100. We're one sub away from 100 subscribers, guys.
Um, so, like I was saying, Bill Gates was a philanthropist within. Well, look, he gave the narrative off that he was a philanthropist within vaccine research for positive reasons, right? For whatever. And a lot of the stuff, newspapers I read about him, is he ends up actually, uh, damaging the people that he tests on in Africa. These women get these vaccines and they can no longer have babies. And then later on, I'm not gonna go further, but I think I've explained enough.
Hmm.
I don't need to uh, deter his reputation because he's already. I think everyone knows what he is after what I just said.
Hmm.
Uh, he actually ends up getting equity in by through philanthropy, through the notion of philanthropy, he ends up getting equity in these vaccine companies. So you could derive more of a logical interpretation of he's bad rather than good.
Hmm. I disagree with that notion, but we will come to
Please, please,
well, we
I'd
we
love
won't do
to
it on this pod because we don't have enough time, and I want to get through the other stuff. But it is a
be a
very
good
good
point.
conversation to have because the internet is so has such two consensus on this. Some people love him, some people hate him, and it's not just like there's no medium amount of people. It's substantially one side or the other. From what I've seen as well, I was one time on his IG page, and then
Yeah.
he posted a post, And then I saw some like famous bodybuilder. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Dorian Yates. But he was just
Yeah.
randomly in the comments saying "Curse you, Bill Gates." I was like, "Oh!" I was like, "What is this guy saying?" But yeah, it was a very interesting time. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to for that debate. And I'm very, very curious to understand your reasoning behind why you dislike him. But yeah, so I think definitely I'm very interested to see where this war thing plays out.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, I don't like. I'm not too big of a war type of fan. I'm not a warmonger. So I hope everything stays well. I do understand though that the economies, grow during war times, especially when we talk about the military aspect. But people dying is never a fun time. People dying it's a waste of a life. It's not something that's needed in a modern world. But yeah, I do think the stock market will correct itself to a degree if the USA does invade another continent.
Yes.
Yeah, I do think so. Just because the way it works, I don't think anybody wants war. I think war is already very prevalent, right? So I don't think anybody needs any more war, and military companies never need another reason to just spend another dollar, right? So I don't see
Yeah.
it being too good of a favor. But yeah, let's get on to the authors and the people that I really prefer. One thing
Just,
I want to talk about,
I
Berksh.
really like. Sorry to cut you off.
Continue.
I
Yeah,
think I need to mention something before we move from more. I
speak.
really like how
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
you recentered us. Sorry, I think we have a little bit of time, and we're not using it
Yeah,
effectively.
yeah,
And Rav's more than right, but within the context of Venezuela, I've noticed that they're using gold, and any threat to the world
yeah.
reserve currency holder, indirect or direct economically, obviously, what I'm applying here is going to cause Trump to question um, whether to go to war against them or not. So I think Venezuela, the president, you guys can go watch what his remarks are. It knows that it is a small and oppressed country within the context, and it has all these resources, but they could not handle the financial repercussions of the inflation seen in COVID. So let's just leave it off there. I'm sorry that I didn't cover that, Rav. I should have covered it
No, no,
within.
it's gone. I appreciate all your insights to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it could definitely be. I'm not too sure what the idea is if people are using gold there, but what I do know is their currency is pretty much non-existent at this point in time. So they're clearly going to use something else, right? Whether it's crypto, whether it's maybe USD. Not too sure, but I do know when you have that much amount of money, hey, bank runs are very prevalent, right? Your bank cannot print out more money than when you need $1 trillion to buy like a banana. So yeah, it's very
Oh my
interesting.
gosh.
But like obviously that's just a idea, but I don't really
Yeah.
know how much it is. But I know it's something ridiculous. But now let's
Nigerian currency. Yeah, it sounds like that.
yeah.
You're not.
And so for the final portion of this video, I want to talk a little bit about the authors and Berkshire Hathaway in general. So I'm a big fan of Warren Buffett. I loved Carl. I loved Charlie Cook when he. I loved man. What's his partner's name? I'm having
Charlie Munger.
Charlie
Charlie
Munger. I
Munger.
was I was thinking of Charlie Kirk for a
Yeah.
second. I was like, this is not Charlie Kirk. But yeah, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett are complete heroes of mine. And this year, they have not outpaced the S&P 500. They're well behind the S&P 500. And a lot of people wonder why this is, right? I believe they're only 5% up for the year, when the S&P 500 together, I believe, is just roughly around 17%. And so they have a lot of cash. I don't think people understand that they have a lot of cash. All right. So I know people are worried about cash bleeding, especially with inflation. But do you know they have so much money that they can buy pretty much, I believe it's like 75% of the S&P 500, like cash. So if they want to buy a company cash, they're able to do it. And the thing is,
Wait, that's such a substantial amount
amount of
of.
money, yeah. Like, let me tell you how much money
In fact,
exactly.
do you think that would apply to like game theory logic, where if they were to do that, that would kind of be bad, right? Because they'd have to be buying to the bidding situation.
Maybe,
You know what I
but
mean? Like when a big institution enters, they can't just enter simply. What do you think, man? Like seriously, like if he sells, Elon Musk sells the stock, it goes down to like really low, right?
one second. Let me see how much money Berkshire Hathaway is, just so I can tell you this more.
You're getting the empiricism for the viewer.
Yeah, we have the exact.
Um,
Okay, so
yeah,
their 2024 data,
75%.
it's more. It's they roughly right now they have between, I believe it's $390 billion cash. Yeah,
Uh,
and so
wow.
yeah, so you gotta understand they're very very big. $381 billion roughly on hand. So with that amount of money, you can buy majority any company for cash, right? Other than you look at like big Mag 7 stocks and stuff that's over $1 trillion. But they're very close to being able to buy money cash. And so what I think Warren Buffett says, they've never been flashy. They've never been up to buying the straight up the new technology. They're not technology builders, right? Other than Apple, which was one of their best bets. I believe they're very old focused. They like insurance, they like automotive, they like all the companies that will be around in 100 years, from what I've seen. So what I think they're going to do is either they stick on their cash position as they're waiting for a correction, and I think obviously them waiting for a correction has been the wrong move because they've been selling a lot of their stuff even right now. So far though, right? Who's to know in a year from now this might have been the best move in the entire market. So I hold a lot of Berkshire Hathaway. Also, with the Warren Buffett Warren leaving the seat at the end of this year and letting in the new guy, which is pretty good because the new guy, the Greg Abel, has been able to he's going to be the new CEO pretty much. His name's Greg Abel, and he's been at the company for over 37 years, right? He's single handedly learned everything from Warren Buffett, from Charlie, and so because he's learned everything from those guys, he's very, very, I believe he's the very best person for the job to continue the growth of Berkshire Hathaway. It's a huge business now, right? But man, what if in just a half a year from now, they buy a business cash? Like I'm talking about a big, big, big company. I'm talking about S&P 500 big, and they can buy cash, and it just adds to their portfolio. So I don't think holding cash is a wrong move, even though a lot of it is getting eaten up by inflation, because I think that they understand the value that their cash can hold. Because at that moment, when you have that much amount of cash, you can do whatever the hell you want. Just to put it into context, 1/3 of their stock price is just cash.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
And I think the first thing that you would think about is diversifying outside of America. Because if the S&P 500 is not a big enough of a playground for you,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Definitely.
seriously. But then you're probably thinking about how can war restructure the current economic,
Well, like
situation.
they own a lot of assets outside like emerging markets. Like they own a lot of BYOD, right? Like they have a lot of companies that they own in China.
They've already, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
That
But
makes sense.
with this amount of money, man, you can do pretty much whatever you want, right? So
But
if they can buy a
it's
lot of
dualistic.
businesses cash, yeah.
See, that's what you're highlighting to the viewer. You're saying that although they might seem like they made a mistake now in not being exposed to the upside, the safest thing to do is kind of wait until the storm's over.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but yeah, guys, I hope you had some great insight from us. Again, we're very close to 100 subscribers, so please, somebody subscribe, get us there. But we
Thank you,
will
guys.
we will have debates for coming very soon. Tomorrow is going to be all about the budget, so we are excited to pretty much bring it up for you. So hopefully the budget goes well. Hopefully all of our theories are correct. So we'll see. All
Thank you
right,
guys for watching.
all
Please
right.
subscribe, leave a comment.
Yes, please have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye bye.